Hey guys, Will's Cat. Good morning. I actually decided to get up at 5 o'clock today because I have a whole pile of work I have to do. You know, I have to pay the bills, so I have to do some work, so I have to get on with it. But I thought I'd shoot some videos first and plan to go for a walk. Just want to talk a little bit about mindfulness and prepping. A lot of people in bug out kits and inch bags have chemical hand warmers. I don't have any chemical hand warmers. I don't see a place for them. The only place for chemical hand warmer in my brain is to warm up veins before IV starting in people who are in shock. Other than that, I really don't see a point to them. The reason I don't like them is one, they're environmentally bad. The second point, and I think this is the point people need to really get the message from this video, so I'm going to say it slowly and I'm going to say it nicely because Panhandle Prep is right. I'm a little bit too at times. I apologise for that. When you warm your hand using a chemical hand warmer or an old-fashioned hot water bottle, it feels nice. It mitigates the effects of the cold like nothing else. It's a great thing. It makes you feel comfortable. Don't prep to be comfortable. Prep to be safe. Now, when my hand is warm, I might misinterpret signals from the rest of my body that I really am getting into trouble with hypothermia and cold in the core. My hand's nice and toasty warm, toasty warm, toasty warm, and it's pulling a little bit of blood back into my periphery that's warmed. It's pulling a lot of hot blood from my core out to my hands or my feet, which is great. But it isn't, because that store of hot blood inside my core is what's going to keep me alive on a really cold day. So don't use chemical hand warmers. Dress in layers and think about what you're doing. Now, mindfulness is critical to prepping. So if you haven't got a buddy to keep checking you every 10 to 15 minutes in extreme conditions to make sure that the skin is not exposed anywhere, that you're mentally okay, you're going to have to do that yourself. So have a little mirror, do a visual scan, check areas, make sure things are fitting, make sure there's no hot air escaping from anywhere that you can trap it. And if you feel yourself sweating, stop what you're doing. If you continue to sweat, remove an outer layer or two, or preferably get back into a warmer environment with no wind and allow the sweating to evaporate. Make sure that every layer of clothing is bone dry and stays bone dry for the entire time that you're in sub-zero temperatures. It is critical that you do that. Bug Out Brad has mentioned quite a few times in comments and on videos that people die when it's 40 to 50 Fahrenheit, which I guess is round about -2 to +5 centigrade. Absolutely. People don't take it seriously. They get wet, they get cold, they get tired, and they get hypothermic, and sometimes they die. It's the wind with the wetness, either inside you from sweating, which you should never have happen to you, or wind, rain, melting snow getting on the inside. Years and years ago I was walking across the English Lake District. We had about 5 foot of snow on top of the fells. Not really typical, but it came down while we were camping. And so we were tied in the line walking back out down the fells. And I was leading because I was fit and I was strong, so I led and broke the snow for everybody else. I used to love stuff like that. And I went through a lake and my foot got wet. And I was fine with that. Now, I didn't have spare socks, I didn't have all the gear, so I now have a wet foot. At that point, the leader of the group said that to get me down to somewhere where I could change my socks became the critical factor. So we took a different route that was more challenging but would spend less time out in the environment. The group leader did not wait for me to start to run into trouble because I'd lost insulation from my foot. And that's what you need to be doing. At all times, think about where you are, what's going on, what's in the internal environment and the external environment that could frack you big time. Avoid it. If you can't avoid it, mitigate it. Treat going outside when it's -0 Fahrenheit or lower, and always know what the wind chill is. Always treat that like you're on Mars. The environment will kill you. It will kill you a lot quicker than you think. It'll kill you a lot quicker than you expect it to. Treat it like you're on Mars, and don't be outside doing stuff in extreme cold unless you have no choice. And go out for short periods and then warm up slowly. And keep hydrating. And then drink warm, not very hot fluids. You don't want to shock the periphery. You want to keep it warm. You don't want to dump hot water into the periphery. When you dump hot water into the periphery or hot meal into the periphery that's hot, the blood that's in the arms and the legs will actually rush to the core to cool it down and throw that blood back out to the periphery to radiate the heat away. It's basic science. I know people don't like science, but stay dry, stay out of the wind, avoid environmental conditions that will kill you, and be very, very conscious and mindful of yourself and the environment every time you're in it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and Opalscat, over and out. Au revoir. Hey everybody, Opalscat. Just wanted to talk a little bit about chemical hand warmers. I've seen them in a lot of bug out kits. I can't see the point of it, and I'll explain why. The point of being mindful, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your own body, is absolutely critical in prepping. It's critical in any camping or survival situation you may ever encounter. And I would argue it's critical all the time anyway. When you use a chemical hand warmer in your hands, or electric boots, or any of those sort of fancy things people have, you misinterpret the signals. So if my hands are warm and I'm dressed appropriately, I may misinterpret signals that are warning me that my core is cooling down. The other problem with chemical hand warmers is that it actually pulls more blood flow into my arm and into my hand, and then returns it. Now the return's warmed by the chemical hand warmer, but it's not sustainable, and it could fool my body into thinking I'm actually hotter than I actually am. And that's the last thing you want to do. You want to be really aware. As I've said before in another video, you need to have 2 people at least when you go outdoors in weather like this. Treat it like a space exploration. Dress accordingly, monitor yourself, be very cautious. You want to make sure that your areas are not exposed and are not freezing. So hopefully you enjoyed the videos. I wasn't going to dress up and do show and tell, but I kind of felt pressured to do so. Because that seems to be what the focus is this week in prepping. Because it's cold, everybody's focused on cold. And that will lead into directly my next talk on prepping. Because what we focus on is what is immediately our concerns. But what will often kill us or damage us is the stuff that we do not see and do not think about. Now, the video on dehydration.